Now, I want to say before I start, rest in peace to Oliver Tree and 5 other people who were killed in the helicopter crash on June 14, 2026. It's so sad how a person who's had his whole career ahead of them, would be gone in an instant. It goes to show you that life can cut our lives short, whether we know it or not. For those who are not aware, on the 14th of June, 2026, 2 helicopters crashed into each other in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, killing 6 people, including American singer and rapper Oliver Tree, and Argentinian YouTuber Gaspi. Oliver Tree was 32 years old, with a birthday on the horizon, while 3 other notable people were ages 20 to 28. The crash, along with the death of Oliver Tree, sent shockwaves and devastation across the internet and the music and entertainment world, with high-profile people like KSI and others expressing condolences, sharing memories, and even willingness to help. While many are expressing condolences and respect, some others among the mysterious corners of the internet are either spreading conspiracy theories or wishing Oliver Tree harm, as well as mock his death and even, disturbingly, hacked his TikTok account. Now, do I or any of us know what happened before the mid-air collision? That remains ambiguous. However, as I was learning about the reactions, I can't help but think to myself, as disgusting and disrespectful as this is, I'm not surprised. Because for me, I've been reminded of a certain pattern that I always see online, people jumping to conclusions without further context and dunking on people even when they are dead. I want to think, why is the internet like this at times? Because, we all know how the internet and online fandoms work, and some of us are left wondering why the internet can be unbearable at times. Well, today, as a psych major student, I'll try my best to figure this out. So grab your food and drink and let's dive in. Now, let's get my questions down first, and be direct with it. Why are so many opinions and posts online so passive-aggressive or just mean? Why do people online act morally superior or smart asses? Especially on sites like YouTube or Reddit. What is causing people to attack creators or other people? Why do netizens do the most annoying things online? What's with the hate of sensitivity and being vulnerable? That's a lot of questions, and one of the biggest motivations for this kind of behavior is the online disinhibition effect, which means the tendency for people to behave in a way that makes them not think of any consequences. Basically, acting with less restraint. Let's do a small scenario. You are out in the park, hanging out with friends. All of a sudden, a friend of yours made a joke that wasn't very nice, and her friends called her out for it, but not in a bad way. She apologized, and they moved on. Now, when she's online, she makes those jokes with no hesitation, and always dismisses the criticism with "stop being sensitive" or "take a joke." Do you see the difference? When you're face to face with people, it's more likely that you wouldn't be openly rude or mean in front of people, because it could land you with direct consequences if you do. Meanwhile, being online can remove face contact, and now that person is a profile picture or a comment, or a post, so you would think that you can say anything to this person without any repercussions. Now this could spell trouble, because this is one of the reasons why cyberbullying, dog piles, trolling, and online harassment can occur, sometimes in devastating ways. That's the online disinhibition effect. Now, there are 6 factors to consider when looking at this phenomenon. Anonymity. Like we talked about minutes ago, anonymity can make people feel free to express themselves with no limits, and think that nothing they say or do will result in consequences because they are just an avatar and no one really knows them. This could increase the likelihood of online bullying and disorderly behavior online. Invisibility. Even when you're not anonymous, it's still easy to be a jerk online because you can't read people's body language or feelings. So you know when you are mean to someone in real life, someone could run and cry, and you'll immediately see what your words did to them. That's not what it happens online. This could be connected to most online harassment campaigns that we've seen in past years. Asynchronicity, holy shit, big word. Because the online world is not in real life, it's easy for us to emotionally detach ourselves from consequences, and just impulsively say stuff. It also gives people more control over things because you are not expected to respond quicker. Solipsistic introjection, a psych term, this means that when we are interacting with the online world, we often imagine ourselves and the person talking inside of our heads. Like a dialogue. But this isn't always a good thing, as it could lead to not okay interactions. Dissociative imagination, you have the internet side of you, and the real life you. One might be a more brusque, bitter, and cynical, while the other is lively, caring, and respectful. When we are online, we tend to think that online behavior does not contradict our values we want to live by. Spoiler alert, it kinda does. Minimization of authority, hey, I don't know about you, but this could ring a bell when I think about the politics online. In reality, authority and regular folk are drastically different in influence, however, once we are online, we are all the same. Can this be good? Well, you can express yourself freely, but this could also lead to chaos? Another thing to add is that I noticed that internet culture tends to rewards brutal honesty and toughness, as well as irony and dark humor, so much so that most of the time, genuine harmful behavior can be masked with just dark humor or just being brutally honest. Aggression and bitterness is so easy to find online, and sometimes those things can get easily unchecked. Now, let's not think that online disinhibition is all bad. There's actually a difference between the positive disinhibition and the toxic disinhibition. Benign is the positive side of online disinhibition. For one, if you are a member of a marginalized group, i.e. the LGBT community or neurodivergent community, you might find the internet a lot safer to express yourself. Meaningful and honest conversations are encouraged, and sharing and being real with your emotions isn't looked down upon. That's the positive side of online disinhibition. Now, when we go into the toxic side of online disinhibition, this is what we are more familiar with in some online communities. Toxic online disinhibition, unlike benign, can encourage users to be more aggressive and bitter, and spread misleading or harmful content. This is the type of disinhibition that leads to negative things like cyberbullying and mental health struggles, such as anxiety and depression. This is what it feels like to be 99% of the internet. But what if I told you that it's actually not? What do you mean, girl? The internet brings out the worst in people. People suck. Yeah, I get you, mate, but listen, chup, think about the times when you sat down and looked at the news on your phone. When you read up on any type of news, what type of news do you see day to day? Are they about puppies? Or about some war or political tensions? You said the second option. You're right. I think it's less the internet is all toxic people and more they are mostly showing us the loudest and cruelest ones. Let me explain. Alright, let's try to explain this. You see so many angry and negative things online, right? Well, I think I can explain this in a simple but effective way. Meet brain. They wake up every day in the morning to work in your body. What gets them going? Well, coffee and some dopamine. What does the brain like to consume? Emotional, surprising, alarming and attention-grabbing content. And, unfortunately, outrage and negativity has all the criteria. It helps the brain to be more alert of things, but it could also make the brain feel anxious and even reactive. And for our body brain, outrage is like junk food for them. It can get attention fast, but too much of it can leave them anxious, stressed, and reactive. Did you get that? If not, my apologies, but look, the human brain is literally programmed to want to see negative or alarming content, because it's our survival instincts. However, just like with candy, too much of that dopamine is not good for everyone. Sadly, internet algorithms don't always think like that. Instead, they think that one of the ways to get people engaged and keep coming back is to show more negative and outrageous content. That's why you would mostly see the loud minority, because nuance and calmness are rarely promoted there, and outrage and extremism gets more attention. So what does this have to do with Oliver Tree? Well, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, a group of netizens are being very disrespectful and think that them being behind a screen makes them think that empathy is nothing. Conspiracy theories run rampant, and it just feels like people just don't know when to put certain things aside. Because of this, you may think people just suck altogether and that everyone online is evil. And while I get the sentiment of that given my experience online, I think it's a bit unfair to call everyone online Satan. Because look on the bright side, many streamers and YouTubers were paying tribute to the victims, including Oliver Tree, and there are people saying RIP in his videos. Now, this definitely could be because they actually knew Oliver Tree in real life, but just because you don't know someone, doesn't mean you don't have to have empathy for them, period. Now onto my side, I knew Oliver Tree through his songs Miracle Man and Hurt. I actually never knew he was behind songs like Miss You and Life Goes On. I literally thought he was a small indie artist I found through CloudKid and not as popular, but he was big. Bigger than I thought. Watching some clips of him, I can see why he was so beloved. From my standing, he seemed very creative, sweet, funny, lovable. He frequently sang songs about mental health and toxic relationships, and listening to the songs now in 2026, it hit harder than I ever imagined. And, I must admit, watching him crash out over YouTube comments 6 years ago was funny as hell, and pretty satisfying too for some reason. Anyways, I see him as a human being whose art has reached many hearts around the world, and whose death is a reminder that you can never know when you or someone you love will die. We all think that we could live to see 90 or 80 or even 100. But, the sad reality, is that anything could happen in tragic ways, regardless of your age. So, be kind to yourself and your neighbors, share your stories and art if you can, because you don't know whose life you would change, and never take experiences for granted. 32 is so young. He had a show to run across the globe, family members who loved him, friends, partners, people who were close to him, they are all very devastated by this tragedy. And my thought and condolences go to everyone affected by this tragedy. So I hope you all learned something from this. I tried my best, and see you guys next time.